AM 970 WSTX.
All right, WSTX AM 970 Reflections. A great, fantastic, outstanding, just plain excellent day. Yes, none other than Thursday. And I said it before, all you Friday worshippers, just know that Doug is doing a yeoman's job of making sure that we have a great, fantastic, outstanding, just plain excellent Thursday so that you can be assured that your Friday will be set. Okay? But don't forget, it starts with Thursday. All right. Okay. So here we are in our second hour, and I've got some very special guests. One from the four carrying over into this hour, Miss Cedelle Petersen Christopher and Ida Loretta Schouten. All right.
Good morning.
These
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, and you're here because Doug Canton, the rookie, went to Denmark with I and saw the performances, and aside from being impressed and otherwise overwhelmed by the experience, I know that I had to not be so selfish and invite some others to talk about it. No, you know, it's one of those things that I'll definitely there to promote. The first thing that I want to do is I want to give a little bit of a, what do we call it, a little intro here to something. Tell me if you know any of these people here.
Cedelle Petersen, Jemba, Miss Schouten.
She looks familiar. Thank you. And the lady at the end over there.
Cariso, Cariso, Cariso. When the Africans were snatched away from their homeland, they brought with them their food, their history, their culture, and traditions. They were kings and queens, philosophers, inventors, scientists. It was that dreadful day on the island of St. Croix where they were dropped off like property and were sold to many plantations. And it was on a sugarcane field that Cariso was born.
All right. Okay. I want to stop that there because we get a nice introduction there of both the speaking and the rhythm behind the speaking and the movements. You check her out there. All right. Okay. So it was captivating, and it was a fantastic, how should I be, sequence of events. All right. And you know, for some people to read a book, to say they learn history, is hard.
Yes, it
But
is.
when you make it visual and
Storytelling
oral
type,
through
yeah.
storytelling, then all of a sudden, things that they couldn't remember to get an A on a test, they know.
Exactly.
Okay. Anyhow, and we need to apply it more to history, because there is a category where we seem to have nothing but scholars at. That's Mele.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah.
Plays into storytelling.
Right, right.
But we want to stay away from that part. We want to keep it to the culture. All right. So, folks, you know, I'm here with years and years of professional experience and other experience here in front of me. So, I want to start off with each of you. Tell me a little bit about your journey, how you got here, how you got interested in Cariso, drumming, music, teaching, anything that happened in your life growing up as a child that influenced you accordingly. So, which one are you going first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Where to start, huh? I remember way back when I started my singing experience was with my sister, Cedelle Petersen, with Doc James and the Talent Club.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
I dated myself.
Yeah.
I was small.
But before that, my father, Pierpont Peterson, he was one of the guitar player with 10 Sleepless Nights. And the name was originated from my family, which I came from a family of 10. And the last, even Stanley would be putting up his hand, 10, 10, you know. But the story behind that was that one day he would go to the band to practice, and they would ask him where he was, and he would say he'd been 10 sleepless nights with his wife. And from that, the name of the band came about.
Okay.
But my mother too was a singer in the church, and all of that has influenced me to become what I am today. Continuing, I had rest a little bit with the music and went into teaching. And I taught for 31 years, and I said, when I retire, let me go back into my singing. And before that, Leona Watson was the one that influenced me. I was one of her backup singers. And I'm here today sharing that information with the community. So this is where I'm at now. I brought in my teaching and singing together to teach the community how the history came about through the events, through the a lot of information that was given to me from Sonia Soli. She is a member of the Smithsonian, and she brought all the records and the information and told me that Stanley says to give it to me.
Oh, okay.
And so I said, you know what, they have confidence in me that I will share this information to the community, and here I am today doing that.
Okay. Well, I have a quick question for you. If you had to pinpoint your first exposure to Cariso, and if it was the same time that you knew what it was, or that the epiphany of this thing that you like is called Cariso, what point in time in your life would you put to that? Was it as a child, or you went to a function, or more as an adult? How
My experience, looking at what's going on in the community today, it has a lot of effect on what is happening. So I decided that I am going to share this knowledge to the young people, because they need to know who they are and where they came from. And being a backup singer for Leona, I didn't say, well, today I'm going to start doing Cariso. It just happened.
Okay, that's what I was getting.
It just happened. The ancestors say, you know, it's time for you to share that information. Nobody is doing it right now. So here I am today doing it.
Fantastic. Okay. Miss Schouten.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Fantastic. Outstanding. Okay, there I go. Trying to start talking again. Okay. You know, I got this little boy. You grab my hand, Daddy. There we go. Talking to me. There we go. Anyhow, welcome to WSTX. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Wow. My journey began, I was born here on St. Croix. My parents decided to move to New York, early when I was an infant. My grandfather was a pastor in a Baptist church. My aunt married a minister in a Christian church, and I began singing in their choir when I was 2. I went from there to elementary school in New York, junior high school. I became a member of the borough-wide choir, which they pick for each borough in New York. They pick the best singers in the schools, and they put them all in a borough-wide choir. And then I went into the citywide choir. But I think I became interested in drumming before I even knew myself. My mother said that one of the ways she knew she was pregnant was the Calypso came on, and her belly started going crazy. And that was me. I've always been moved by bass drums, percussion instruments. While I was in the citywide choir, they put my first maracas in my hand. So they figured because I was born in the Caribbean, I automatically knew the beats when the Calypso came on and we were singing it. So that was my first introduction to actually having percussion instruments in my hand. I was about 11 or 12 at that time. I got accepted into music and arts, high school for performing arts. I went there for a small amount of time. One of my siblings passed away, so my parents decided they were coming back to the Virgin Islands. I began singing with the choir in Central High, which Mr. Jacobs was the choir director at that time. I was also singing in the choir in the Moravian Church where I was a member. From there, I started playing percussion with Midnight Band, Vaughn and Ronnie when they first started out at the Sandbar and at Rhythms in Christiansted. And it went from there to teaching. I became a teacher. I started teaching science, rhythm, and the nature of things is what the children felt. When I first saw a child looking at a pupa and wanted to know what it was and the phases between a caterpillar and a butterfly, and we started looking at the rhythm of nature, I brought my instruments into school and we started playing in the classrooms along with doing hands-on projects for social studies, which was culture-based, and also for science. From there, I retired from education, and Cedelle started singing. She was singing Cariso at Wim Greathouse. I was supposed to be making jewelry, actually, because I have a jewelry business called Dreams Realized, where I also paint. And I decided that I would drum. I picked up the djembe, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. Well, that's how it happens. I remember, and I say that because I took this little boy to King Darby when he was working with his young people, and it's almost like the ukulele jumped out of King Darby and into his, and it was just like that. The way it happened, it was magical, and where you see a child that things that you have to learn dexterity and learn this and whatever, and they just get up and do it like it's just there. So definitely I know that the education experience for both of you is such that you've seen a lot of interesting young people out there, talented, and in some ways you just have to be happy that they cross your path so you could help them to see that they have a talent, you know. Not there later in life and feeling like they missed out on something. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to play a little bit more of this video so that the community could hear some of the expression and the history lesson that's never too old and never too much.
Tell a story. It was used to send messages. It was used for special events. There were many, many Cariso singers before me. We had Mary Catherine, Queen of Cariso. Long ago, it was called Cariso. Today, it is called Calypso. I take you to St. Croix, Virgin Islands, where emancipation, July 3rd, 1848. A story was done for that day under the leadership of Moses Gottlieb, better known as General Baudot. Imagine, thousands upon thousands of slaves were marching to their freedom. The sick, the lame, the blind, marching. You would think that they were getting a gift wrapped in a package, but you would hear them say, we are going for our freedom. And with that, a song was created for July 3rd, Emancipation Day. And this is the song. Glady Road, ah, your Glady Road. Glady Road, let the slave them pass. We going for our freedom. Hardship in the morning and suffering at night. No one ever help us, it is only Father Ryan. He bring we up from Africa, this me born in land. He bring we up from slavery to the land called Santa Cruz. Glady Road, ah, your Glady Road. So we remember that day, July 3rd, 1848, under the leadership of Moses Gottlieb. 30 years later, still chaos on the island of St. Croix. Because of 4 women, there was an uprising. We call it Firebund Day. October 1st, 1878. And this is the song about that day. Under the leadership of Queen Mary, Queen Agnes, Queen Martella, and Bottom Belly. And this is the song. Queen Mary, where you going to born? Queen Mary, I said, where you going to born? She said, oh, ask me nothing tall. Just give me the match and trash. Bassin jailhouses, where we going to born? So you know, we remember that day, October 1st, 1878, under the leadership of Queen Mary, Queen Agnes, Queen Matilda, and Bottom Belly. Then we had an event, November 1st, 1950, under the leadership of David Hamilton Jackson. We remember that day, a great labor leader. He represented the enslaved on the island, the Virgin Islands. And last but not least, Transfer Day, March 31st, 1917, when Denmark sold the Virgin Islands to the United States. But you know, Cariso was also used for entertainment.
All right. So there we have our history lesson for today.
Yes.
I just didn't want to just sing. I wanted to teach,
Yes.
you know, so that is how I presented my presentation.
Well, I want to say that the two of you together, okay, that beat and that rhythm and I can see that you've learned each other in terms of you to hit that drum and in a way to drive home the point, not overwhelm anything, but drive home, complement the point. And so it's really something that it was great to be there in Denmark doing this.
Yes.
And to see the attentiveness
Oh my.
of the people there
Yeah.
to the story. And I say this, if you gave those folks a book to go and read to learn about the former Danish West Indies history to the extent that it is what is covered in what you sang there, and the Virgin Islands and our connection, it could never be the same as the expressions, the music, and the warmth. And I say warmth because afterwards, the way these folks come up and want
My,
to
they
talk
came
and
to
everything,
me.
you know?
Oh my.
Yes, yes.
Some in
yes.
tears
Yeah.
came and they're so sorry for what happened. You know, it was well eye-opened for me.
Yeah,
Eye-opening
it's, and the thing is this is why it's important for us to continue the message so that between Denmark and the Virgin Islands that we truly do come to grips with the history in a proactive way.
Exactly.
Okay? It's not about repeating over or otherwise just talking about it over and over. It's where we're going to go from there.
Absolutely.
All right? And together, because last I know, blood is red. Okay?
That's right.
And
right.
and last I know, all human beings have blood in them. And so black,
And it's
white,
to,
pink, or
to
green,
remember, but to move on.
to move on.
You know,
Exactly.
it's a teaching lesson, and how we gonna change that? You know, and that's the message. A lot of the young people don't know their stories,
Yes.
They don't.
That's
They
the
don't know
challenge we
their
face.
and this is a challenge. I mean, I have done it in the classroom. When I was in the classroom, I was able to teach them even the masquerade and give them a little round of our history. But only one or two, I would say, came out of that as being storytellers.
Absolutely.
You know, so even if I didn't get all, I get at least one or two.
Yeah, but you'll be surprised. They're just not out front storytellers. They learn a thing or two, and they have their chance to do a little something here and there. Anyhow, and I say that because I'm not a storyteller, but I don't get my opportunity on trying to tell. And hear these chairs say, you know, no sir, my little boy, Daddy, please. But anyhow, I give it my little shot in the process. All right, we're going to take a break and be back in a few minutes here. Keep the station going. All right. All right, folks, we're back at Reflections, having a great, fantastic, just plain excellent time here in the studio today because we're clearing the road
That's right.
for others to come behind us.
Yes.
All right, and then they're going to take over the leadership in this whole thing here. So let me give us a little thing here to segue into.
Long ago, it was brought to the islands to chase away
Talking
and
about the
kill the
mongoose.
snake.
Yeah.
And a song was created for that mongoose, and this is how it goes. Sly mongoose, dog know your name. Sly mongoose, oh what a shame. Went into Miss Mary kitchen, eat up one of her big fat, hide it under the kitchen table. Sly mongoose. There were all type of songs down on the sugarcane field. Another song was done by women accompanied by the drumming. And this is the song. Granny oh ho ho, make Granny Elizabeth. If you want some ginger to wash your Daniel, come here, you sir, get some. Come here, you sir, get some. Number one drummer, Simmons drummer roll. Isabella. Ain't no Isabella no more. It's Laram in London. Call him up a yard. Call him brought down dirty old nag. Drummer want for no yo. Drummer want for no yo. Drummer want
for no yo.
Drummer want for no yo.
You know,
Thank
you
you
had
so
such an impact, okay?
Thank you.
Because, you know, folks would think that we're there at the tour, and you go from performance to performance, and you hear the same sound, and you become bored with it. Well, that didn't happen.
No.
Okay? They always had it on a bus going down the road. Somebody was singing something.
My goodness. Oh, Lord.
Somebody was singing something.
And their
that we were
own
doing.
interpretation too
You
of it,
know?
some of the songs.
Yeah. And for those of you who've been following on Facebook, you know, you saw the one performance there by Doc Peterson, the impromptu performance where he was singing there in between. We were waiting on the bus to come, you know. So it's one of those things that you have talent all around you, and based on the inspiration and the moment. I remember going to breakfast and having more than food. I had music there, a grand piano, and a musician doing a little thing there. Yeah, so it's like it just happens. It just happens. It was a wonderful experience. All right. Well, I'm going to come back to you, Cedelle. You were talking about a broader aspect of music and how it the Cariso has in many ways like a vine gone into all these different things like hip hop, which a lot of people are saying like, okay, wait a minute now, let me check this out, because either I forget my roots, I have a lesson here I need to learn. So teacher, I turn it over to you.
Well, Cariso is the original music and singing form, art form, and it have evolved into calypso, and I see it evolve into hip hop and many others. The reason I say that is because Cariso is a form of storytelling, whether it's what happened long ago, events. You see that calypso will talk about what's going on in today's experience, hip hop the same way. So it is a storytelling format that was used, and I think that if you look at hip hop, calypso, and all the other genres, if you call them, Cariso is actually the main origin to me. Okay.
If you don't mind me adding, as far as the drumming and Cariso, the origin of drumming came from out of Africa, and it evolved all through the Caribbean. Every place that a slave was dropped off, whatever tribe was on any plantation, they always found a way to play the drum. They made drums out of whatever materials were available to them, whether it was a tree trunk or a barrel or what have you. And they used that as a means of communication between plantations to let the different slaves on other plantations realize what was happening. So messages were sent through those drums. That was a main means of communication, because of course the plantation owners didn't want the slaves on different plantations communicating with each other for fear of a revolt. So the only way to get those messages across were through the drums. Gospel songs in the States were another way to get that message to different plantations and different slaves. So drumming played an integral part of the history of Cariso, as well as just the history of us as a people.
You know, I had the opportunity and the honor to go to a church where Ossie Davis was, and Ossie Davis, I mean, I was blown away. He did a story, and I was blown away. In the context of, I'm saying, it doesn't matter where you go, when you trace your African roots in that context, storytelling is an integral part of it.
Absolutely.
The drums. One of the things that's interesting is you look around and you see how many people are, in a sense, conflicted, because in some ways society, out of, if you go back to the slave owners' fear of revolt, as you talk about, you see a lot of people who out of the legacy of slavery are not very receptive to this this part of them.
That's true.
Because there was a teaching. You know, it's like when the music start and the children start to move, it wants to keep still, don't move. And I'm saying, wait.
exactly.
This
Yeah.
is something that's coming out natural.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
You just got to move to the beat.
exactly. And then you were looking at earlier where we were at the that open amphitheater where the young man came out to the quadrille.
Right.
Yes,
I mean,
2-year-old.
Yeah, and then you go back to the gym, and
And all
everybody
those people
was feeling
got up
hot,
and
hot, hot,
dancing.
and
Yeah.
jumping in the line.
Exactly.
We did-
Exactly.
You know, all
It's a
these-
natural thing.
It's a
Yeah,
natural
yeah.
thing, and so we have to do more to understand these things and encourage a positive manifestation.
Absolutely.
Because
Exactly.
one of the things that I tell folks all the time, especially parents who say, I don't like that music, I say, you need to listen to that music, know what your young people listen to, and take it to church even, because you got to understand, if you're not putting the lyrics to that beat, the devil sure will.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's true.
Oh, yeah.
All right, but
There's a lot of fear when it comes to the drum. I remember not too long ago when the electricity was off for days down in the LaGrange area. I put on Facebook, I said, I need to bring my drum outside and start drumming and have everyone in the community that has a drum just join in based on the fact that they're playing the drum, that they hear the drum in the atmosphere. And one of the comments I got on that post was, better be careful, the drums we use to incite people. So if you want people to start drumming, you're looking for trouble.
well,
Not fair to put a fear in.
yeah, well, the
fear.
thing of it, the thing of it is, the more good things you have going on in your community, the more good things you got to talk about.
Right.
And drums are just another form of communication in the way
Right.
they were used. So I think
Yes.
the focus needs to be on good things happening in
course.
the community. There's this thing going on now, as you're probably well aware, about protests, and you hear a lot of opinions of what's the right way or the wrong way to protest, but it's not the right way or the wrong way to protest. What is it that they're protesting?
Right.
And when you look at the problem, the core source of it, it's like, hey, we need to deal with it.
Exactly.
That part. So in communication is communication. Either we put the good lyrics, the good words, the good messages into it, or the devil takes over and we take what we get.
That's right. Absolutely.
All right. And the fact of the matter is, there's so much, whether it be through slavery or in our world today, that needs to be communicated. And any effort to suppress communication is to really create more problems.
That's right.
And I said before, problems are proof of life, but I don't mean you gotta make extra ones. keep it down to earth in that regards. Okay, so we've got we did 5 different performances, and you did Cariso for every one of them.
Yes.
Yeah, my voice was starting to
Yes.
twinkle.
The one that we were listening here was the 5th one, and you could hear it in her voice, folks. You could hear it in her voice.
Strain was
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things we have to figure out how we're going to travel with some T-Bush and thing and make sure that we take good care.
Lime and
Yes. Okay. But no, it's as you look at the different performances, the first one we did was in the square there by the
where we stayed.
yes, it's a museum. It's a circus museum, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
That's what it's called. The circus. When you say
Where we
museum,
stayed
where
at
we
the
were
back?
staying
Yeah.
at the entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah, right where you perform. The building behind you was
Yes,
actually a
yes.
museum building, and a nice big square, and people came out there for that. And then I've been watching some of these videos here, so my brain, I know that the last one was back in. Before that, we went to a town called Ringstead.
Ringstead. Oh, yeah, I
And
remember that.
Ringstead had, for those of you who may have seen it on Facebook, there's a church there, an old church, that's a sight to behold.
wow.
Just like the Virgin Islands has all of these gems, if you know where to look at, you know where to look for them. In the same way, when you go to Denmark, there's history all around
All
you.
around.
So you go to the most out of the way place that nobody thinks about, and you find interesting history. So we had Ringstead, and then we had the one in the amphitheater, and before that we had the one in the gym.
In the gym, that was my favorite one.
Well, yes, I could understand that. I could understand that because on the 28th we had some rain.
Yeah.
So that kind of subdued people a lot. I mean, they were still dancing up and carrying on and everything else, but it was more subdued because they had to maintain an umbrella also.
It was outside. Yeah.
You know, but that night in the gym, everybody just let go and enjoy.
Yeah, and it was a full house.
Yes,
Yeah.
enjoyed. And so it just tells me that the Virgin Islands, in terms of this connection we have with Denmark, we need to be doing more of these type of things.
Yes.
Maybe broaden the range of cultural exchange as much as possible, but more is better at this point in time. There's a whole millions of people there in Denmark who are interested, and to the extent that we can foster these relations, next thing you know, we're going to start having exchange students on a heightened level. So that students will be able to go and say for a whole month or two live in Denmark and experience going to school there, and likewise to come here and do the same thing, because the more we do that, the better it's going to be for all of us. And I say that there's some of it we need to do here at home.
Yes, in order to go.
Right.
There, yeah.
You've heard of this thing called VINGN. It's this network that we got $70 million from the federal government, and we complemented with our share to set up. Anyhow, we have all of these locations now on St. Croix and St. Thomas, these free labs you can go to, and literary training and everything else, and so forth and so on. We have the capability now to be able to hold live video conference classroom to classroom. And the more we start doing that, whether it's for English, math, science, the more we do that, the more we become one Virgin Islands, where it is in Tomians and Crucians.
Just one.
And that's going to even better prepare us. Now, something I want to switch gears a little bit with the archives.
You know, I was thinking about that just now, you know.
Yes,
Oh
yes,
my
yes.
goodness. Oh
We
my.
went to the archives where they have all these
Oh my
documents
gosh.
from the Danish West Indies time.
Yeah.
And just to put it in proper context, back in those times, all these boxes or containers or whatever that were subjected to sea air and infiltrated by sea air, all these documents came over already compromised in a sense, because we didn't have air-conditioned shipping crates and all this other
Yes,
stuff back
yeah.
then.
Right.
So Denmark has all of these documents in an archive. Some of them are very frail, can't probably at that
that.
point where if we didn't copy it, we're probably going to lose it. But thank goodness what they've done is they set out on a project where they're scanning all of that documents. And from what we discussed, hopefully in January,
Yes,
we should
that's what they
have
said, yeah.
access online to all of these documents.
Tyson, George Tyson,
Yes,
he's
but
the one put it in.
but you and I got
Yeah.
a real eye-opener, because
Oh my.
this gift ain't so simple. Most of the documents are in Gothic Danish. Gothic Danish, the closest we come to a second language around here for the most part is Spanish. Gothic
Right.
Danish is something that will require special classes, training, and refinement as you go. So I was talking to my cousin in the States doing his genealogy, and he was telling me, well, I got this document, and my great-great-grandfather's name is on there, but I don't know what the document says.
Right.
So this is the challenge now, because we got 5 million, that's the number he used, 5 million pages of documents that Denmark will have basically done their responsibility of turning them over to us by way of putting them online. All right? The reality is we don't have the facilities to store them here and maintain them in that context. And not that we can't, but the best of both worlds right now is that they're being put online. Okay? But we're going to have 5 million pages of documents we can't read.
Right.
That's
Okay?
yeah.
And then, you know, everybody jumped to technology. Oh, we just use a scanner. Not handwriting. We got 5,000 people, different handwriting for those 5 million documents.
It's true.
So that ain't going to work.
The translations don't always work.
What has to happen? That's right, because people challenge translations, and what has to happen is that for every document, there needs to be a translation and a notation as to disagreements as to what this means or that means.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
okay, and for every word in every document, it has to be entered into a database so that you could do a search for Petersen or Pedersen, and every document that has that set of letters in it,
Right.
in that sequence, would come up. And that's not what we get in.
No,
What we
that's
get in
right.
is just the paper. So we as a Virgin Islands, especially in light of this centennial that's coming around
Yeah.
and after, okay? Because,
Yeah, you ain't
you
just
know,
stop there.
let me tell you something. Wrong, yeah? We like new thing. Centennial is a new thing,
Oh, yes.
okay? And then afterward, you see the
Fade
car
away,
and the tire them flat and the
Yeah.
rusting and the maintenance afterwards. So we need to look at how we're going to plan for a future of people from the Virgin Islands who are going to be able to put together a special task force to
Right.
deal with this thing.
Right.
Or we're going to have to break down and pay a professional entity to not only do the translation, but to put it all into a database and set this thing up and everything else.
It's going to take
And
some time.
it's going to take time, and it's going to take money.
Right.
And we need to say, if we're serious about our culture, we need to start planning
Appropriating some money for
for how this is going to happen. In
Right.
fact, afterwards I'll tell you about a project that I'm looking at putting into in terms of doing something like that. So you're coming back with us in November? Or what?
November.
Yeah.
You're going in November?
Where we can't go
Oh,
again?
my goodness.
Where we can't go again?
So
No,
there's-
Norwegian
if you
Airlines.
put that out in the listening audience, you know, people going to I want to go. You know?
Norwegian Airlines coming here empty?
Oh,
that's
okay.
right.
Norwegian airlines.
That's right.
Oh.
And so are you talking a direct flight?
Okay, well, you know,
Okay.
I'm traveling in
We-
a while, but make sure I'll be there.
We're going to
Yeah.
talk about it
Okay.
because
Okay.
definitely
Okay,
it's going to
because
be.
you know, going to Denmark, it was such a short time to experience
do
more than
everything.
Mm-hmm.
I did go to the archives, which was one of the most important thing I wanted to do, but it was such a short time to you know, get deep into
Well,
a lot of stuff
I
that
can
I
tell
needed
you.
to
Sometimes you
know.
needed to go for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And just stay
And-
there for almost a week.
once you understand which bus to catch,
Oh yeah,
where
but
to
that
go.
was easy,
Absolutely,
Mr. That was
'cause
easy.
I was traveling.
No, it's like Denmark is like being in Christiansted and going to Frederiksted
Yeah.
now. In
Right.
terms of, in fact, if I know somebody that's going, I go sit them down and give them the benefit of all of these little tips and
Yes,
tricks
yes.
and where to
Right.
go, because
Yeah.
once you got into to Copenhagen, and I said for folks that want to go as a tourist, just go straight into Copenhagen. Take whatever buses,
right.
get in there. Once you get in there, you have the
Oh my,
canals with the
that's
boat
so-
tours.
oh my,
you
that
got
was-
the
I
bus
went on
tours,
that. That
and
was
all
nice.
of these different things.
was
Yes,
nice.
I went
You
on
can
that
walk,
too.
Yeah.
I walked a lot.
And so we can tell you how in 3 to 5 days you can have a holistic tourism-oriented experience,
Right.
just because we were there.
Yeah.
And I watch people who were intimidated at first. But once they learn which bus to take and which bus not to take,
They were
that
off.
was it.
That's right.
And that, the good part
Which
is the
so and so
bus
there?
stop you right by where you were staying.
Right,
That's
by
right.
way.
So-
So you there, which so and so, oh, they gambled it, you know. So it was great in that regards, and I'm looking forward to going back. And but staying on top of what I was saying with the archives, the Virgin Islands needs to do some planning.
Yes.
Okay, because I know some people were even carrying on. Well, it's our documents. They should give them back to us and everything else. And
But
so,
you gotta
okay,
be able to read it.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, it's our documents, but you need to start thinking on how we're gonna get money to translate it. You know,
Properly translated.
yeah. Well, you know, and translation is always going to be a challenge.
Right.
Because you're going to have agreements or disagreements about what things. I think that what's important is that those agreements are chronicled in the notes that can come with a document when you set up a database that has a document, the translation, the notes, and all of that other stuff.
Right.
But that's something we have to plan for.
Yeah.
And I'm saying this hopefully to plant a seed in the mind of the community, because I want them to know that things happen because you want it to happen.
Absolutely.
But you don't know you want it if you want to expose. And it's just like now, the bike paths, I think that we need to start thinking about our bike paths, not like Denmark, because we're not Denmark. You know, Christian said don't lend itself, it's just too tight packed, let's say, to have that. But there are other aspects of these bike paths that will play into tourism.
exactly.
That's there to come.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
And that are business opportunities for people already here,
Right.
for these people who are going to be visiting.
Right.
And it's important that we understand it, set up the infrastructure for it, and train our people to be able to take advantage of
I
it.
just
Okay?
want to say there was a group of Danish students that were for agriculture that were at UVI
They came by,
this summer,
yeah.
and they came to listen to us at the Whim Great House. So that exchange that we were talking about, having students exchange, it's already happening.
In place, yeah.
It's in place. So we just need to get our students ready to, you know, go
Right.
to them in.
Well, one of the things we had someone give a message here, naming a particular individual that can read these documents. Again, I know we have people here
Right.
that can read Gothic Danish, but when you're saying 5 million documents, we
That's
don't
a lot
need
for them, yeah.
one person. We need a cadre
You need a team, yeah.
of people,
Absolutely.
okay, who going to translate and check each other. We need a cadre
Yeah,
of
because
people.
That's true.
And that's the point that I want to say. It's not that we don't
one
have
person.
anyone
Right.
here. We got people here.
Right.
But in terms of the numbers and size and volume of these documents are coming at us, we need a cadre. And we knew this was coming, but we've been involved in living our life and all these other different things. I mean, we the Virgin Islands. I'm not talking about you and I per se, but it's fair to say that we the Virgin Islands could see this coming. If you
Right.
look at technology, I remember when I was telling people it's important to learn about computers, get a computer, and I see people cut up the eye at me and, oh, you think everybody got a computer in their house? Now, everybody walking around with a
With one of
computer
those,
in their
yeah.
hand,
Yes.
okay, in the form of a cell phone. And so time has changed, so we could see this coming. And if we didn't see it, now your eyes are open. So let's start planning. Your history is only as good as what you preserve and pass on.
Absolutely.
Okay, because preserving could put in a box in a can or someplace. No, we wanted to get to our young people. You remember the archivist? He told us some stories,
Oh my.
and from going through these documents, there are a lot of interesting stories. How many people out there know? And when I say people, I'm not talking about adults, I'm not talking about historians, I'm talking about our children
Right.
in high school, much less in middle school, okay? Know the full Queen Mary story.
Right.
Because something happened after all the uprising, okay? And yeah, they made a point, but there were consequences,
Right.
and it
For the
impacted
actions.
them and their family. Jail time, away from home,
For
not even
generations.
coming back home. You're going to everybody think of Queen Mary and you think St. Croix. Well, what Queen Mary have to do with St. Thomas? And I'm putting it that way because I'm saying, folks, do your research.
Right.
But a lot of the documents and that surround these events are there and going to be made available to us, and we have to empower ourselves to be able to read them and come up with a system of translation and creating this database. Anyhow, that's Doug running him. We got a few more minutes here left, and I want to turn it over to you in terms of any words that you have for us in these last minutes.
Well, I'd just like to say, to shout out for some people. My brother, Wilfred Schouten, has been integral in my journey to Denmark, being very supportive since I've gotten back to the Virgin Islands. So I have to say thank you to him, as well as my family members. They know who they are, my daughter, sons, cousins. So I'm not going to shout out to them individually, but they know who they are, Janet Beckles. And that's all I have to say. Oh, and education, as far as education is concerned, we really do have to make sure that our students are more aware of their story. Not their history so much as their story, their background, where they come from.
Well, I would like to thank Dr. Larson and Doc Petersen for giving me the opportunity to go to Denmark.
Absolutely.
When they came to me, I said, "Oh my, yes, definitely." And I'd like to give a shout out to my young students out there, children out there who are seeking to know themselves. You have to start here with your history. I'm hoping that by sharing this history, one or two may be able to carry this on. Leona played a very important role to me, my family. I just want to thank everybody for giving me that opportunity. I will continue to share this knowledge. This is only a little piece of the pie, Cariso, but I'm hoping that everybody know that we have a rich history. Yes, we do. Thank you.
Okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close out this show with a little bit of your performance.
Okay. Thank you again, Doug, for giving us this opportunity to be here.
It's my pleasure, and hopefully we'll be able to follow up.
It was used to send
And go Denmark.
messages. It was used for special events. There were many Cariso singers before me. We had Mary Catherine, Queen of Cariso. Long ago, it was called Cariso. Today, it is called Calypso. I take you to St. Croix, Virgin Islands, where emancipation, July 3rd, 1848. A story was done for that day under the leadership of Moses Gottlieb, better known as General Baudot. Imagine, thousands upon thousands of slaves were marching to their freedom. The sick, the lame, the blind, marching. You would think that they were getting a gift wrapped in a package, but you would hear them say, "We are going for our freedom." And with that, a song was created for July 3rd, Emancipation Day. And this is the song. Let it roll, let it roll. Let it roll, let it slave them fast. We going for our freedom.